And hello, football fans. Welcome back to another episode of Hurdle the Line. We're got a full house here, almost a full house, I guess. With us tonight, we have our resident Browns fan, Ollie. Representing the Los Angeles Rams is Sam, new daddy Sam. And of course, the Super Bowl reigning champion, Tom, here representing our Chiefs. And then our fearless, our awesome producer, the Detroit Lions fan, Fletch. And you guys know me. I'm Chapman. I am the lowly Atlanta Falcons fan here. And welcome back, guys. How was the weekend?
Very good.
Lovely.
Very good. I'm sure you guys.
Let's not all speak at once, guys. This is an audio podcast.
I'm sure our English football fans enjoyed it more than anyone else after that late comeback.
What a game last night. For those of you who don't know, we have the Euros going on, obviously, here. And England had a very exciting comeback win after, 96 minutes of just crap football.
Crap. Yeah, absolute crap for 96 minutes, followed by 1 minute of euphoria, or 2 minutes of euphoria, because then they scored the equaliser with that incredible acrobatic kick. And then Kane scores in the first minute of extra time. So, yeah.
What a game. Was watching in a pub in central London, and it was a lot of unhappy England fans up until obviously that 97th minute. And wow, man, what a game. I'm honestly really glad.
Switzerland
and then
next.
I watched Switzerland next on Saturday. I will be hosting a barbecue at my place for July 4th, which is Thursday, but we're doing a belated Saturday. And we'll have the game on. The Euros have been fun though. It's been a good Euros overall, I think.
That's a very big hat, Chapman.
It's actually so this hat is from the Ryder Cup of 2016 when I moved here, and I bought it and I have worn it sparingly. So just because I don't like getting randomly punched in the face walking around London. But
while you parade around as an ungrateful colonial.
Well, I mean, you know what? I'll take what I can get. If colonial is the worst thing you'll call me, Fletch, I'm fine with that. As we do every week, we're going to start off with our break the huddle. Fletch is taking that for us this week. Got a couple of tidbits. As we know, it's summer, so it's not crazy. But Fletch did find two really interesting tidbits, which he's going to fill us into.
Yeah, so like I said, there was only two that I could find. I think there was a couple of the little bits that were loosely related. But the first one is Little Ealing Primary School has won the NFL Flag National Championships. If you were following the NFL UK and Ireland Twitter page or whatnot that was going on this week, you would have known that the Bears were in Manchester early last week, which was, I felt something sickening in the air as that last week. That would explain it. And then a couple of days later, they were doing some flag sessions, and then, actually with the Jags as well, the Jags were doing it too down in London, and then they had the UK National Flag Championships, of which schools from all over the country, and in Scotland and Wales, and I don't think any Northern Irish schools took part. I don't think. And yeah, Little Ealing won, and they get the privilege of going over to the States to compete in a competition, in the flag competition next year, which is, congratulations to them and good luck to them as they fly over to the States. I can't remember the details of as and when. And finally, the next bit of news I've got is that the Chiefs are going to get their own Christmas film. I'm not sure when their actual release is going to be, but Hallmark, the NFL, and I think it's a production company have got in a bit of a deal to produce a Christmas-themed film that will centre around football, and the Chiefs will play a major part of that. That's it. That's all I can find this week.
What about Fletch? What about as well USA humiliatingly losing to Japan in the under-20?
Well, we also lost yesterday to somebody else.
They lost the third place game to Austria. Which
there you go.
I don't think anyone in America even knew that this was going on, this game. So
Yeah.
I
as
didn't.
much as I would like to revel in the misery of the United States' sporting adventures, I don't think they really knew that this game was going on. What is it? Flag football, or is it normal football, or is it?
Well,
It is normal football.
It's contact under 20s. My favourite comment from the whole thing was, I found out this was happening 20 minutes ago, but fire everybody anyway.
Yeah. They're not allowed back in America, I don't think.
No, as an American, I don't care if they put a bunch of high schoolers out there. They should be beating anyone in the world at football. So it's a disgrace, and I'm very upset about it and had no idea what was going on until Twitter told me. So obviously,
this is how we'll be celebrating the 4th of July. We'll all just be looking at the result from the Japan and Austria game. That's all we'll be doing. And voting, but less of that.
yes, less of that. Thank you, Fletch. I will say, I believe the Hallmark movie will be a streaming film straight to the Hallmark channel. I don't believe they do distribution, but maybe they'll do it differently for this one. That is
going to be in it. That's what I want to know. He's
I don't know yet, but if they don't, they should. That's just a missed opportunity.
If anyone's going to be in it, it's going to be Kelsey. Let's be real. He's probably jumping at the.
What are you talking about? If Andy Reid's not in it, I'm out. Like, I want old man Andy Reid just like helping be a matchmaker.
Is it just me who's wanting Taylor Swift?
Can he not just be Father Christmas?
Is it? So it's just me that wants Taylor Swift. Okay, then that's fine.
Just you.
I'll shake it off.
As mentioned, moving right along, as mentioned, our main topic tonight is we're just having some fun tonight. So we've come up with a game, and we're calling this game SBC, which stands for Start, Bench, or Cut. We're going to go through position groups of current players right now, and we're going to pick 3 players. I'm going to throw it to one member of the team. I'm going to ask them to start, bench, or cut each player, and then they will give me their answers, and then we will have a lively debate of why they are either wrong, right, or So we're going to start off with the 3 of our 6, or who knows what, 6 quarterbacks that were selected in the first round. So you'll get a little taste of this. So we're going to say Daniels, May, McCarthy. Which would you start? Which would you bench? Which would you cut? I'm going to throw this one to Chiefs fan Tom.
So for me, I'm probably starting May just in terms of his talent alone. Like obviously I know he's got some work to do on his fundamentals and all this kind of stuff, but the talent that he has and the floor that or the ceiling that he has, I think is the highest of the 3. And then in terms of benching, I'm going to bench Jaden Daniels. I mean, I still think he is elite as well, but I do worry about his size at the next level. And then going to cut JJ McCarthy. I think that's fairly self-explanatory, but
so I might take an out-of-the-box approach to this one just to make it interesting. I mean, I do believe Drake May is the better prospect, is the better quarterback. But like you said, he does have a few things that he needs to clean up before you throw him out there. And maybe he could benefit from being on the bench. So if I start Daniels the first, half the season or the year, have May on the bench and then have him come in after that first year in this hypothetical situation.
No, I totally get what you're saying. But I just think the talent, in terms of the talent alone, like.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, that was just me playing devil's advocate.
Above both those guys.
I actually disagree with both of you. I think I would much rather start Daniels, like you said, Oliver. But I love the upside of Daniels, and I think like a lot of quarterbacks with his sort of unique talents, you want to get in early. And you want to see them play fast because defenses just won't know what to do with them. I think May is a much more, pocket sort of, he does have a lot of talent, but like you said, he's got a lot of rough edges right now. And I think he's going to take a little bit of time. And I think
It's a
the
project for
situation,
him, isn't it? Yeah. It's a
yeah, I mean,
project.
like it's not, I just think Daniels is the most like, besides Caleb Williams in the class, I think he's the most starting ready quarterback of that group of players. So, and it's no disrespect to JJ McCarthy. It's just more of like the body of work. You just sort of like, I'm taking those. I would agree, Ollie. I'm wanting May off the bench at some point. McCarthy, sorry, Fletch.
Take that little smirk off your face there, Oliver. My question is, are we taking in their current situation into account, or would we say put them all behind the same situation? Who would you start bench? Because
that's the fun of the game. I think it's the eye is the beholder.
Yeah.
Do you take it in a vacuum, or do you take it with?
I think if you've got a steady O-line, I would probably take May. If you haven't, but have a couple of decent receivers, I would take Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on the situation. So I think overall, for a rookie quarterback, I would at first take Jaden Daniels, but because the chances are, if you put in a rookie quarterback like that, they're going to find themselves in positions where they're going to have to scramble, or they're going to have to make things up on the fly. Jaden Daniels is probably the most equipped to do that straight away. So if we're taking right now, I think, but in 3 years' time, we'd come back to this question, and I think Drake May would be your answer for start.
But if we're taking that same thing, I would say JJ McCarthy is not in a bad situation. He's throwing to Justin Jefferson. He's got Hutchinson, and I mean, honestly, I'm forgive me right now. It's a Monday night, but remind me of the Minnesota coach's name.
Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. I mean, he's a good coach, man, and he's
one of the best play callers.
Exactly, and
QB whisper.
QB whisper.
I think as well, though, if you're looking at it as someone who's quite well aware of the NFC North and what's going on in there at the moment, the Packers have a fantastic defense. The Packers' defense is borderline elite. The Bears have really stepped up. I think we talk a lot about their offense. The defense was very good anyway, and I think they've improved again on defense, and they're going to get better this year. The Lions have significantly, on paper, improved on defense this year. JJ McCarthy, as good as his position, as much as he's been put into a decent position, he's going to be. You'd be forced to force some plays to happen, and I don't know if he'd be ready to do that, because I think his accuracy is not quite there, and his ability to work on the fly isn't quite there when he's so used to handing it off to Blake Corum. So, and that again, coming from a Michigan fan, I would love to see JJ McCarthy succeed. As a whole, maybe not the Vikings, but I think he's got the most work cut out for him in that sense, and I don't think he's ready to.
See, I just looked at it as a who would I rather on my team kind of approach, I suppose. And yeah, if I could have Daniels and May, that would be great. That would be two. They say two good quarterbacks is a problem, but I think that would be a good situation for, like I said, you could have May on the start and then bring him in. But if it came down to just strictly, I had to pick one of them, in order for my team, then I'd go May, Daniels, and then McCarthy.
Yeah.
There we go.
I think you and I, though, we have teams built for I'd say my team particularly has a team built for a pocket passer. You want a pocket passer in that offense, whereas, say, Tom, it's built to allow Mahomes to run around a little bit and make plays happen, so you'd want a Jaden Daniels in there.
Yeah, very true.
So, moving right along to our second position group, which we're going to go now to the tight ends. So, start, bench, or cut. Fletch.
Yes. Sam
Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, or Mark Andrews.
So, as I said, I'm going to remove all of my biases in this one and obviously still start Laporta. Then I'm going to bench Mark Andrews, and then I'm going to cut TJ Hawkinson, removing all biases from that situation. I think Sam Laporta, being at the age he is and having the role he has within the offense, and given all the things, tight end use happening, actually. That's a bit of news we forgot about. Tight end use happening at the moment.
It's happened already, It happens in Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
Run by the Kittles every year.
You ask, you look at all the interviews that are coming out, who's the one who's standing out? Sam Laporta, Sam Laporta, Sam Laporta. He's up for a big year. He had a big year last year
Even
as a
Travis
rookie.
Kelce said it, didn't he, Fletch?
Yeah.
Even he said he had one heck of a year. So
Travis Kelce, George Kittle, both of them, I've seen interviews them saying Laporta stands out. I think Mark Andrews has the experience that he's got and the talent he's got. I think looking last year, he put up more yards out of the three. I think he put up more touchdowns out of the three. The only thing he didn't beat Laporta on was yards per catch. And I think, but Laporta only had it by 0.2 or 3. Yeah.
And he missed some time too.
Yeah, and I think Mark Andrews may have a little. Yeah, I would bench him, and then Hawkinson. I like Hawkinson, but I just don't think he has the tools that the other three have the other two have to the extent that they have. So,
does anyone disagree?
I disagree.
So do
I would
I.
start Mark Andrews and then bench Sam Laporta because the experience that he has and like his catching ability as well. Do you know, he barely drops anything. Like I remember that what was that catch on you'll probably remember because it was AFC North AFC North anyway. Like where Lamar threw it like to the end zone, he caught it anyway. Even there was a flag on it, like he still caught it. Like it was ridiculous.
See, the reason I would take him over Laporta just at this point, I think he's a more all-around tight end. Laporta couldn't block a cold, so it's one of them. I mean, yes, Laporta is a really good receiving tight end. He could become a better tight end than Mark Andrews, but with the body of work that he's put in, yes, I suppose you could kind of knock his injuries the last couple of years on him. But he had that season 3 years ago where, you know, other than Kittle and Kelce, I think he even had more yards than them two when he had 1,300 yards a few seasons ago. He's proved that he can put up the big numbers if he is targeted as that kind of number one threat in an offense, something that he doesn't usually get, the luxury of doing in that Baltimore offense. So if you put him on Detroit, maybe, you know, he looks just as good as a receiving threat as Laporta. So yeah, personally, I would start Mark Andrews, I would bench Laporta, and I would cut Hawkinson.
I agree with you, Ollie. I just think you got to bet on experience right now. I really like Mark Andrews. I think he's really great. But Laporta, I'm excited to see what his sophomore season's like. If he's going to really step it up. I mean, I think it's really interesting. 10 touchdowns in your rookie year is pretty impressive, though. So he's
a great red zone threat.
I think it's 1A, 1B, man. Like so, I like what Mark Andrews brings. Like what you were saying, Tom. It's more of a total package. Laporta is going to get there, I think, with coaching and with everything. But it's the tight end. I want a little more experience. That's just how I.
And I might have a bit of bias just because I've seen Mark Andrews play, in the same division as my team his whole career, and it's someone I've seen play quite a lot, and someone that I've seen kind of torch the Browns quite a lot as well. So yeah, that might play into it a bit, but that's my decision.
Yeah. I think that play might have been against the Browns as well in some like absolutely turgid game where it was like 10-6.
He had one against the Browns where he like caught it like behind him, like the receiver was like in front of him, and he managed to like somehow catch it behind him like that, pull it around the defender, and then obviously bring it down. But yeah, he's a great tight end, and still fairly young.
Oh yeah.
Moving right along, guys. Let's move on to the other side of the ball. Let's do some defense. Talking about linebackers. Ollie, this one's going to you.
Yep.
This is start, bench, cut. Roquan Smith, Fred Warner, Demario Davis.
So can I firstly just start by saying I'm not entirely sure why Demario Davis is here. He's 35 now, and credit to him, he's had a great career, but I don't think he belongs in the discussion with the other two as currently going into next year or last season. But
do you want to skip him out?
I suppose might be controversial maybe because one of them has quite a big name. But I would start Fred Warner. I would bench Roquan Smith. And I would cut Demario Davis. Reason being, I think both Roquan and Fred Warner bring a lot to their team as that kind of, that mainstay linebacker that plays every single snap on the field for both their teams. But when I watch both, I just think Fred Warner makes more impactful plays. It's kind of a joke that, not even a joke, but it's, an influence to become a joke with Browns fans is the whole that Roquan Smith is Tony Snell of NFL. He's just running around for cardio. He's not really doing much. And, people can point to the tackles, but you actually, every time I watch him play, he'll tackle, the ball carrier that's already been engaged with a tackle by someone else. And he doesn't really make impactful plays in the backfield. He doesn't really blow plays up. He just doesn't make as many impactful plays that I've seen Fred Warner make. And that's saying something considering he plays for the Ravens and I saw him twice a year last season. I've probably seen him play more than Fred Warner. Yet I can remember more, noteworthy plays and impactful plays from Fred Warner than I can from Roquan Smith. So that's why I would have Fred Warner ahead of Roquan.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is another example of people who only watch the AFC North weighing in on league-wide things. Sorry, Tom. Go right ahead. Sorry, I just needed to make sure our audience understood the bias.
Wouldn't that mean I'd be biased towards Roquan?
Maybe.
But yeah, I would agree with you there, Ollie. Just in terms of like the fact that he's been that good for so long as well since he's been in the league. Like Fred Warner, sideline to sideline, there's no other linebacker who you want on the field than him.
He's a bullet, man.
He is just a bullet. He just the straight line speed, the speed that he has, just running sideline to sideline. It's not, and a lot of the fundamentals he has, they're not coachable. Like in terms of he just is that instinctive player. Like he just knows where the gap is. He knows. So yeah, I'd have him one. I'd have Roquan two. I think he took his game to another level going to the Ravens. From the Bears, obviously, he was impactful there, but on that Ravens defense, he was really, really good last year. And then as you say, Demario Davis, with the career that he had, it was incredible. But he is kind of getting past it a bit, isn't he? So
yeah.
I agree with
If
Tom.
I was going to throw... Oh, go ahead, Fletch. You go first.
Just saying, I agree with Tom there. I think Tom pretty much took all the points out of my mouth. So.
I mean, I'm interested to see Roquan Smith next year without Patrick Queen next to him. That is one thing I will say.
Yeah.
If I were going to take if I was going to take Demario Davis off the table and I replaced him with CJ Mosley, does that change?
No, I think I'd still probably cut Mosley, but
what about
that would be a closer argument with Roquan than obviously Davis would be.
Right.
I mean, if you wanted to say JOK for the Browns, then obviously I would probably no, I'm joking, but no, I'd probably keep it the same.
I think I might. I think. I don't know. I like Roquan a lot, but I think I would maybe put Mosley on the bench. I think Fred Warner is like, as we've all said. I think he's the dude. Like we're not really getting he's rarefied
So
area.
Have we lost Sam? Because I know that he's quite a Roquan Smith fan.
All right, guys, moving right along. All right, so we just finished our linebackers. Now we're going to move along to second. Let's say.
Is Sam not going to get his chance to speak about the linebackers?
Oh, do you want to do linebackers, Sam?
Move on.
Let's move on. I would agree, Tom.
I'm very much in the minority.
Yeah, he disagrees. That was that. He thinks Roquan over Warner.
We've already spent enough time. All right.
There we go.
Yeah. Go.
Great.
Yeah,
okay. Thanks, Tom. All right, moving right along. Let's go to our third tier running backs. So I'm going to throw this back to Ollie. Would you start, bench, or cut Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, or Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. Start Deshaun Watson. You might think it's biased, but at the end of the day, Russ is 35. I think he's at the end. I think what we're seeing is the decline in terms of his actual career because he's at that age. Whereas with Deshaun Watson, yes, you can you can say you don't think personally that he will ever be a good quarterback again, but he's still young enough. It wasn't, the reasons that he's been out of the game the last few years aren't reasons that are, going to mean that he can't play going forward. In terms, it wasn't a major injury or something like that. Obviously, he was injured last season, but now he's fully healthy. So yeah, it might sound like a homer, but my reason for putting him ahead of him is that I still think that he could, out of the three, I think he's the only one that could actually go up a level and actually become and be viewed as a good quarterback again. Something I don't think the other two could. And then because of that, I mean, I think Russ is better than Daniel Jones, but I'll probably just take Dan Jones because I don't really want Russ in the locker room. None of his teammates like him. None of his teammates have ever liked him. Even the ones that won a Super Bowl with him have nothing nice to say about him, which is just weird to me. And it must mean that he must not be the best locker room presence if none of his former teammates, have anything nice to say about him. And with Daniel Jones again, with the age, maybe you could get a resurgence out of him, considering he's not 35 like Russell Wilson. So yeah, I would start Deshaun Watson, bench Daniel Jones, and cut Russell Wilson.
I'm going to jump in, guys, before anybody else says anything as a host. I'm going to disagree with Ollie, respectfully. I am, and in this case, I'm thinking of the situation versus than the actual talent. I actually think Daniel Jones has the best opportunity this year to have a better season than the other two quarterbacks, even though I do believe the Cleveland Browns are the better team. But I think Deshaun Watson has showed us who he is the last couple of years. He's hurt. He's mentally messed up, and I just don't think he's a good quarterback anymore. And I think wishing on what he was 4 years ago versus what he is now, I'm just not going to do it anymore. I also just think that contract is just such an albatross around the Cleveland Browns that I just think they're ready to be done with him after this year. So I personally don't bet on him being any better than he has been now. So.
Such an albatross to the fact that we're still not in the bottom.
Ollie, 12. Can I finish my point and then you can talk because you've already had the chance to talk. So thank you very much. Second of all, I'm very excited about seeing. I don't think Daniel Jones is more talented, let's say, than Deshaun Watson, but I think he has a better chance to rebound after his abysmal last year. Just because I think he has played well in the last 2 years, which Deshaun Watson has not, and I think he could be better. I think we both agree Russell Wilson is cooked. He's cooked. I think we will see Fields on the. I think we'll see Justin Fields starting within at least the first 6 games in Pittsburgh because I just think he has more upside than Russell Wilson, and I think the team will probably solidify around Justin Fields for a lot of things that Ollie said. Now, again, I think that the Cleveland Browns have the better team than the New York Giants per se, but I just think Deshaun Watson is done as an NFL quarterback. And I personally would put more money on the fact that Daniel Jones has more of a chance of rebounding after a really crap year, after at least showing us he could play 2 years ago, than Deshaun Watson. Ollie, if you'd like to rebuttal, go right ahead now.
Well, I'll rebuttal the albatross comment. Obviously, the contract is so bad that I think we have more cap space than your Falcons. And I mean, I don't disagree.
What do I care about that?
I don't disagree.
We need to spend our money on players we want.
No, but obviously to claim that a team is in cap hell when they're not is obviously wrong. That's all I'm
No. I didn't say cap hell. I said it's an albatross. Everything you gave up for Deshaun Watson and everything surrounding him has been an albatross to your team. I think he's a cancer. I think as soon as you get rid of him, I think your team will be better, regardless of who comes after.
You are entitled to those views. I'm sure they seem more personal.
Ollie, what's he done for you? What has he done for you?
I was just saying, I'm sure they seem more personal than they do actual on the field kind of stuff. On
the field. I'm only talking about on the field. He got hurt last year, didn't play. He sucked the year before. He's not good, dude. He's not good. I don't care about the personal issues. I'm saying what has he done for you on the field?
11 games the previous year. So to say he sucked, obviously he was suspended. If you're not playing, it's hard to suck.
And then he was horrible when he came back.
Yeah, it went horrible. So bad that they went 3-3. Last season was 5-1 as a starter. Second half
because the team is better than him.
Second half against
Ollie, you're living in La La Land. Let's move on.
Let's move on. 14 for 40 and 134 yards. Touchdown. Come back against the number 1 seed. You're more entitled to your opinion. That's fine. But
I would say 25 out of 32 teams would not take him on their team. I would say 25 out of 32.
That's fair enough.
Because he's a below average quarterback.
That's fine.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in, please?
No.
Not with those guys. I was going to say for you, Ollie. Do you know what you said about Russell Wilson? I kind of agree with it in terms of like, you know, he's not great in the locker room, whatever. But at the same time, the people who, you know, he wasn't good in the locker room in Seattle. He actually like mended those fences like over the off season. I heard about that with DK Metcalf. He was throwing with him.
I'm not claiming that he is a locker. I wouldn't want to throw that claim on anyone unless it was, you know, something that was quite clearly proven. I'm not saying he is a cancer to the locker room or a locker room issue. It's just that I just find it so weird that when a Super Bowl winning quarterback, someone of his caliber, and none of his former teammates have anything nice to say about him. It's just a weird. It's just a weird thing that makes me think there's got to be something going on. Obviously, you hear the stuff with Denver, with having his own office and things like that, and you know his own team, and not really being involved with everyone else. But yeah, the biggest reason is just I think he's 35. I think we've seen his best. I think is what we're seeing now is the end of his career. So that's the biggest reason.
I actually agree with you, Ollie, as well, that Deshaun is one, and then Jones, and then Wilson, just in terms of the fact that, you know, in terms of the talent of Daniel Jones compared to the talent of Deshaun Watson, I don't think really they're comparable, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, obviously he hasn't got back to the heights that he did when he was playing for the Texans, but, you know, at least he actually had those heights. What's Daniel Jones' heights been? Yeah, he got to one playoff game.
Which, by the way, I'm not claiming he will get back to those heights. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to be an MVP candidate. I just push back on the idea that he's cooked and that he's done for. When I saw, you know, every game I saw last season, the numbers weren't there, but you know the performances in no way indicated that he was cooked per se.
So I'm going to throw out that when we're talking about experience, like we did with the tight ends, I think quarterback's the position where you want the most experience. Russell Wilson's been to 2 Super Bowls, and he was one bad play call away from winning 2 Super Bowls. I don't think that can be counted against him as much as he's up his own ass. And I'm also going to throw out there that the reason Deshaun Watson was in Saudi Arabia this year was because that's the only place that'll take him next year for the new Saudi Arabian league. So.
Going back to my argument, I always feel like I say exactly clearly what I'm saying and people still twist it. So what I'm saying is Deshaun Watson on paper is a more talented quarterback than Daniel Jones. But Daniel Jones in the last 2 years has at least played better than Deshaun Watson has, I think, overall in the last 2 years, and is in an environment where he can succeed. Also in terms of I think the NFC is easier than the AFC. I just think there's a lot of things that are working against it, and I just don't know if Deshaun is ever. I think Deshaun, you're paying Deshaun to be the quarterback that he was in the Texans, and he's not. And I don't think he's ever going to achieve that. And I think the Browns would be better off next year getting rid of him and starting again, because I think they have a really good team, a really great coach, and I just personally think that he has come with too much baggage to continue on, whether it's on or off the field. But I'm more talking about on the field. Anyway, sorry that opened up a can of worms I wasn't expecting, but let's move right along. Let's move to our last topic, at least for now, which I think might be the most interesting in terms of the debate. Sam, I'm going to throw this to you. The running back position, would you start, cut, or would you start, bench, or cut? Here we go. Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, or Jamar Gibbs. 3 very talented, very young quarterbacks in our running backs in our league. Why am I saying quarterbacks? Running backs in our league. You go, Sam.
Yeah, I've this one's actually really difficult because I think they're all really, really top quality players, and I think I always find these start bench cuts really sort of harsh on the one you end up cutting, because it's saying that you would cut him from your team. It's not the case. But personally, my personal view on it is I would start Bijan Robinson. I think he has the highest ceiling. I think the situation he's now in with all the changes that have happened in Atlanta really are going to favour him. And I think I know that you can only go off the fact that he's been in the league the year, and I don't think he had the best of seasons. But I think that was purely down to the situation he was being played in. I think next season that it's going to be a case of feed him the ball and he will do the things that we know he can do. Personally, I would then bench Breece Hall, just again purely because of when I've watched him play, he looks like he could easily be the number one running back in the league. I think he has the ability to do that, and again, situational things can run against him. And with what's been going on in the Jets over the last couple of years has really not helped him. And then it's more of just a case of I'd cut Jahmyr Gibbs. It's not because he's not worthy of being in any team. He's just, for me, he is the worst of those three. But I still, if any other list, he probably would be either a starter or a bencher. But for me, in this list, he becomes the cut.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I mean, I would actually start Jahmyr Gibbs. Well, you see what he did last year. I mean, especially after they played the Raiders in, what was it, week 6, I think. From then on out, like, he just went from strength to strength to strength. Obviously his dual threat ability, just like Bijan as well. And he's part of I would say is a better offense. But we wait to see what the Falcons can do this year.
I think the thing with that one, just with the Jahmyr Gibbs thing, the reason is he's had a better coach, he's had a better situation to start his career in, and he's also had someone like Montgomery who has been able to then bounce off.
How can you knock him for being in a situation
I'm not knocking
that
him
he's
for it, but I think for me, Bijan has the higher ceiling, and I think given the opportunity to actually show and show his capabilities, he is a better running back than Jahmyr Gibbs. That's the way I see it. I think he has everything to his game, Bijan, and I think he just hasn't had that opportunity to be able to. I mean, I went and watched him in Wembley, and he barely played. I mean, I know there was talk that he was ill, but he still barely played. He was playing Algier over him, which anyway. I didn't think was fair.
He had some sort of he had some sort of condition anyway, so he never should have been playing. But yeah, I know what you mean though.
So I suppose the Falcons fan and the Lions fan should give their answers, I suppose.
I've got to say, I feel like me and Chapman be
and then I'll go last as the neutral.
I think. Obviously, I'm going to say Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd start him. I think you put Jahmyr Gibbs as behind the best offensive line in the league. Although the Falcons is, for me, probably second in the league. I don't think it's It's not by a big distance. It's the two best offensive lines. But I think when you add the 1-2 punch with Damo, I think you add in the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs will be included in the passing game this year a lot more. The fact that we've lost Josh Reynolds, whether Donovan Peoples-Jones steps up, whether Khalif Raymond steps up, or whether they try and put Jahmyr Gibbs in a little bit more in the passing game is yet to be seen. But I think they could utilise him even more in the passing game. So I add in that the big punching Damo. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be. Well, he's going to be even more explosive in his second year. He's going to be even more involved in the passing game. And I think, again, by the end of the year, I've said this off camera before we started, I'm happy to put almost any wager on a Bijan versus Jahmyr Gibbs, and I would feel all but confident that I would walk away with just about whatever we put on the line.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting considering the only thing that Jahmyr Gibbs beat. There's only 2 stats that Jahmyr Gibbs beat Bijan in last year, which was touchdowns. Definitely had more touchdowns because we were a very touchdown deficient team. And then also yards per carry, which Jahmyr Gibbs was very efficient in. But Bijan had more yards. He had more catches. He had more receiving yards and he played more games. Granted, so, but...
he also lost more games, but...
Jahmyr Gibbs was also heavily...
I wasn't really finished, but go ahead.
Jahmyr Gibbs was slowly integrated into the offense for 6 games and then spent 2 games injured. So,
Okay. Well, I mean, again, you have to hold that as part of it. Whereas Bijan, was asked to carry a load. And I also think Tyler Algier is a great 1-2 punch with, so I wouldn't, he's no slouch. I look, the Detroit Lions are a better team than Atlanta. So I think, and I think Bijan, watching all the game, I wasn't able to watch as intently everything that Detroit did last year before the playoffs, but I would say Arthur Smith was quite stubborn in how he called the running game last year in terms of being quite predictable after the first 6 games. So I'm interested to see what Zach Robinson comes in and does. I think it will be a more pass heavy game, but I think you've got to use Bijan. You didn't draft him number 8. So I'll happily take that wager, Fletch. Maybe we should figure it out over the next week, and then when we come back on Monday next week, we can announce what we've decided on.
I'd happily take that as well, because
well, no. This is just going to be me and Fletch because it's our 2 teams. You guys can wager all you want, but I think Fletch and I will have a wager. But I appreciate it, Sam.
I want 2 dinners or 2 lots of money. I'm happy with taking 2 of whatever you are offering.
I like a gentleman's bet. We'll talk about it offline, Fletch.
So I think you both make really good arguments. I do agree with Chapman and Sam, but I will some defend. I mean, the argument, Jameer behind Montgomery. I mean, you can say Bijan was behind Algier, but I mean, Montgomery really was the number 1 back in that offense. He had 1,000 yards. He was their first and second down back. Something that, yes, Algier, not as much so, in my opinion. But, yeah, I do agree with both of you. I do think Bijan offers the more all-around kind of workload back that the other 2 don't as much. Maybe Breece Hall in some vein, but I think Bijan is someone that you can have first, second, third, even fourth down. It doesn't matter. I think he could take 300 carries in a season. Something I'm not sure Jahmyr Gibbs can do, just based on his playing style, his physical profile. He's not as big as Bijan. He's not as strong as Bijan. He's not quite as powerful as Bijan. So for that reason, I would start Bijan. But I would love to have Jahmyr Gibbs coming off the bench as a third down back. I think he offers so much as a receiving threat, something that Bijan does as well. But I think he's a little bit more, what do we say, shifty. He's a little bit more kind of that kind of runner than Bijan is. So yeah, I would be happy with him coming off the bench.
I think the other thing that I find with Bijan, because I think for me it's looking at the individual abilities, and I think Bijan, like I say, Bijan is a better receiving running back for me, and he's also, I think, again, thinking about the situational part, Detroit were in the lead a lot more than Atlanta were. So they are allowed to use their running backs in a much more efficient way than the Falcons will. So, if we start seeing games where Falcons are going to be leading a lot more, or are going to be winning games, you're going to see Bijan get used a lot more. And I think it'll change the way that you may see both running backs used. It may not happen.
Sam, let's not all get ahead of ourselves and start saying we're going to start winning.
You might start winning games. You never know.
Chapman's praying. They give him the ball
eventually. I'll just say this. I'm just going to say this. I have a lot of respect for Jahmyr Gibbs. I enjoyed watching him last year. I will be looking to draft him this year and I think it'll be a great, hopefully a great contest to see between those 2 players who would be great. Because Fletch, I have a lot of respect for the Detroit Lions. I got one more. We have one more little start bench cut. I'm gonna name 3 mascots, NFL mascots, that are not representative of any of our teams, and I'm gonna ask all 4 of you to tell me which one you would start, which one you would cut, and which one you would start, which one you'd bench, and which one you would cut. So the 3 mascots are, and again, I'm picking teams that are not represented here. The first one is going to be Stanley the Bear, which is the Chicago Bears mascot. the second one will be Billy Buffalo, which is obviously the Buffalo Bills. And then finally, Houday, which is the Cincinnati Bengals mascot. So would you start, cut, bench, or cut? I can't even play my own game right. Stanley the Bear, Billy Buffalo, and or Houday of the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to throw this first to Tom. Tom, who are you taking? Why? Give us your passionate answer on this one.
Well, it doesn't help because I don't know what they all look like. So,
All right, so I'll help you. Stanley the Bear is a bear.
yeah,
Houday is
yeah.
is a Bengal, and then Billy the Buffalo is
Oh,
some
yeah.
sort of goat machination looking. He first time I've ever seen this character. He's got horns. I believe he's some sort of he's a bison, Harvey Bison. I don't know.
Okay.
He's the character. So are you taking a
Right,
bear,
I'm
a
going with,
Bengal, or goat?
He is
I'm
also
going with
blue, Tom, the buffalo one. He is blue.
oh,
Just
Yeah,
to
okay.
there you
factor
go.
in. He's not the
Yeah,
normal animal color. He is like bright
yeah.
blue.
Oh, okay. There we
So
go.
there is your Buffalo Bills mascot.
Nice,
Here is
nice.
Houday. Oh wait, hang on.
Right.
Is that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out like my bearings with my camera. There's Houday
Yeah.
and Stanley the Bear.
Ooh. Okay. I'm probably gonna go for um the bison first, then the bear, and then the Bengal. I think, yeah. Well, from the way you described the bison, I was just, I just think it's pretty badass. So, the picture of the bear does look cool, and then the Bengal one, it looks cool, but not as cool as as the bear, I don't think. So, that's the order I'm going with.
Very good. Oliver, I know you have opinions about everything. Hit us up. Are you going Billy? Are you going Billy Buffalo? You going Houday? Are you going Stanley the Bear? Give us your picks.
Is it Staley the bear or Stanley the bear?
I think it's
Staley.
Staley.
Staley. So I will go Staley the bear number one because I a few years ago went down a YouTube rabbit hole of getting into watching bear documentaries and got really fascinated with bears as an animal. So side note, if you ever need a bear fact or something like that, just hit me up. So that's why I'll go bear number one. Number two, I'll go with the bison, Billy Buffalo. And so cut, obviously the Bengal because, Bengals and that obviously not gonna have him anywhere near my team. So yeah, cut the Bengal.
For the
You
Bengals.
never disappoint, Ollie. Thank you very much. Sam, give it to me. Which of these three? Who are you taking?
I am taking Staley the Bear as my starter, purely because my little boy is actually named after the Celtic word for bear. Arthur is the Celtic word for bear, so hence why I'm going with the bear. Then I'm taking Houday as my bench, and then I've just looked at the picture of that buffalo, and it is weird. I don't like it. It looks weird, so he can be cut.
Thank you, Sam. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not just football fans, but we also have lots of different interests here. You're going to always learn something on the Hurdle the Line podcast. And finally, Fletch, who are you going with?
So I did the sign as you said that I'm cutting Staley the Bear. He can get cut, he can get gone. I will yeet that little so-and-so out of this so fast. No more Staley the Bear. Then I'm going to go with Houday as is being benched because, I don't know, kind of reminds me of Tony the Tiger off the Frosties. I don't know, I like that. And finally, I think, do you know what, I'm looking at Billy and I'm thinking, with no disrespect to anyone, who has ties into things like Netflix, but when Netflix will do their own animated children's films, it looks like a character that you would find in one of those animated children's films that, they've kind of put a medium-sized budget for. It's not really got the full backing, but, it's not cheap and crap. I feel like it would be that would be the face I see through a really heartwarming children's animated film produced by Netflix. And like, this is the extent that I think I've got. That's about as far as I'm going to go on this one.
Don't lie. You picked images in blue. You picked images in blue.
The only thing I would say about
bonuses
Staley
there.
is the only
Blue
thing
is
with
also
Staley
better.
is he's quite, if you from a kid's perspective, he's a bit creepy.
He is quite creepy.
So
Super creepy.
I'm just happy that no one put the Bengal
Anyway,
one
would
first.
you?
I'm actually sad that I didn't pick Steely McBeam from the Steelers. I actually should have put him in here because what is that character? I don't know, man.
That'll be going straight out.
There's some wild characters. By the way, I will say I was walking around London on Sunday and I saw a Brian Leftwich Jaguars jersey, which also brought back some memories. Anyway, sorry, that's random. If I was gonna go, I gotta go. Staley? Staley the Bear. I just like Staley the Bear. He looks cool. Definitely Houday second. No offense, love the Bills, but that mascot Billy is it's not doing much for me.
Does anyone else? Does anyone else think of Staley the Bear as the thing from Fright Night at Freddy's, or is it just me?
Which is also Showbiz Pizza, which is what was his name?
But like, does it not look like that creepy thing that
No.
Oh, it looks super creepy, but
I mean, I know
Bears
the
are
one with the
creepy
child.
animals.
Billy
I know the one
Bob.
with the child old enough, but it reminds me of that Masha and the Bear, which is that weird Russian kids cartoon.
yeah.
And that gives that makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up whenever I've seen that. And I think it's giving me those kind of vibes as well with Staley the Bear. I can't do it.
Well,
There you have it.
a lot of children's animation talk tonight on the old Hurdle
I have
Line.
a 7-year-old daughter.
And I work in kids animation before, so it's like, we're the experts.
And I just really love SpongeBob still.
I've spent the last 3 weeks watching Dancing Fruit on YouTube, so that's where I'm at.
Well, I don't quite know where we pivot from there. So, do we have any last thoughts tonight, gentlemen? Anything else? Well, anyway, it was a great game, guys. Thank you very much. You guys did excellent as always. Just so you guys know, from a little programming note, we are going to get into some fantasy in the next couple of weeks. We are going to start doing a review of the AFC and NFC, who we think the top teams will be, picking some division winners and whatnot from all the team here. And we'll be starting to prep. We are 9 Sundays away? 9 Sundays after this last Sunday, I believe, correct?
6 days away from opening game.
Yeah. So we're edging closer. We're very excited. Go.
Yeah, so I was going to say as well, I also figured out it's 30 weeks until Super Bowl Monday, so get that booked off work if you need to.
Oh, don't be saying that. I don't want to already
Well, I
be
will
thinking
have to get
ahead.
that booked off
Wishing
work
the
because my
season
team
away.
will be playing
No,
in it. So
we need to, because the further the NFL are going to keep pushing it back in February, the closer it's going to get to school holidays, and you don't want someone else, like one of the mums at work, taking it for the school holidays, and then you can't get that Monday off. It's not fair, so book it off now.
Oh, by the way, one final thing. Shout out to the Good Teams Win Great Teams cover pod for the first question, for the first start bench cut as well. So appreciate that, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. We will be back next week with another exciting episode. And we are so grateful to have you as an audience. Please make sure to hurdle, not that baby, hurdle those Euros. I don't know, hurdle the ball. We're going to keep working on this ending, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next week. And this is Hurdle the Line out.